The purpose of this video is to help you how to find the perimeter of a figure that's made out of straight line segments and arcs. As you're watching the video, please pay special attention to the purpose of pi and how to use pi in your problem, and how to round your answer to the nearest hundredths place. So the first question is, what is our figure made of? Our figure is made of one arc and four straight line segments. And so to find the perimeter, we are going to add the length of that one arc plus the length of those four line segments, and that will give us the perimeter of this figure. The first part of the problem that I'm going to deal with is the round part, which on all of these problems is part of a circle. So you can see I have a circle with radius 5, but the part that makes up the perimeter of our shape is only 90 degrees of that 360 degrees in our circle. So to find the length of that blue arc that has a measure of 90 degrees, we have to use the arc length formula. The arc length formula is arc length equals arc measure over 360 multiplied by the circumference, which we're going to use 2 pi r because they gave us the radius in our picture. So that is our arc length formula. When people look at that formula and they see the pi symbol, people think that the problem is harder than it really is. That pi symbol is saving you tons of time and effort. Pi is an irrational number. You need to use pi whenever you're trying to calculate a measurement involving part of a circle. But if you had to write down all the digits of pi, you would never be able to write them all down. It's an infinite number of digits. So in order to save you the time of trying to write down an infinite number of digits when you need to use the number pi, the nerds came up with a placeholder, a symbol that replaces all of those digits. And so anytime you see that symbol, you know what you really mean is you mean 3.141592653, on and on and on and on and on and on and on, that whole entire number. But instead of writing the whole entire number, you're getting a break by only having to use the symbol that represents that number. And the symbol that represents that number is the Greek letter pi. And so every time you see pi in a problem, you should be thankful that you get to write the symbol and you're not required to write the infinite number of digits, which is actually pi. So now on our problem, we're going to calculate the perimeter. And the first part of the perimeter that we're going to calculate is our arc. So we need to find the arc length. And again, that will be arc length equals our arc measure, which is 90 degrees out of the 360 degrees that makes up a whole circle, times 2 times pi times the radius, which in our problem is 5. So when we put that in our calculator, we are going to want to just have the pi symbol. We do not want to type in the whole entire infinite number of digits that pi actually is. So when we put that into our calculator, the number that comes out looks like this. It's 5 pi over 2. And that is the perimeter of that circle, but not the whole entire circle, just the 90-degree arc that we care about. So for the first part of our perimeter, we know that our arc is 5 pi over 2. And I know that you would rather write down a decimal or a whole number, but remember that pi symbol is saving you from writing down many, many, many digits. So you have to learn to like that. The next part of our perimeter is the shorter horizontal line segment. That's this part here. And so that will have a length of 10. The next part of our perimeter will be the vertical shorter line segment. And the vertical shorter line segment also has a length of 10. Now we're going to go with the longer horizontal line segment, and this one might be a little tricky. From here to here is 10, and from here to here is 5. So this whole distance across this horizontal line segment is 10 plus 5, or 15. So this has a length of 15. And finally, we need to add on the longer vertical line segment. And so from the bottom to here is 10, and from here to the top is 5 more, the same as the radius of the circle. So this whole length is 15. So now for our whole perimeter, this arc was 5 pi over 2. The shorter horizontal line segment was 10. The shorter vertical line segment was 10. The longer horizontal line segment was 15. And the longer vertical line segment was 15. So when we add those all together, we get the shape that we're looking for. So this is 15. This is 15. This is 10. This is 10. And this is 5 pi over 2. Now we can write our answer two different ways. We can write what's called the exact answer, and that's where we don't pay attention to any of the digits of pi at all. We just leave the pi symbol in, even in our answer. And so the perimeter, the exact answer would be 5 pi over 2 plus 10 plus 10 plus 15 plus 15. And we can add all of these numbers together because those are just regular whole numbers. And when you add those together, they add up to 50. So our exact answer is 5 pi over 2 plus 50. Now, in the directions, it says that we need to round our answer to the nearest hundredth. So when you're looking at your Casio FX 300 ES Plus and you see 5 pi over 2 plus 50 on the screen, you can hit the SD button and it will change your answer to 57.85398,163. And we want to round our answer to the nearest hundredths place, so that means 2 decimal places. So I look at this 3 right here, and I see that the 3 cannot bump up the 5 to a 6. So my overall answer, rounded to the nearest hundredths place on this problem, is 57.85. Now, here's another example where they want you to find the perimeter around the outside of the blue figure, just like the last problem, and they want you to round your answer to the nearest hundredth, just like the last problem. The only difference is you're going to need to get out a piece of scratch paper and work this one out yourself and answer the questions that pop up on the screen as you go through.